The video you're about to watch is of me and my dad having a live rehab power hour with Motus Nova, which is the apparatus that we are using currently to help him post stroke to get some motion back in his right arm. So, hope you enjoy. This is his first time with them. He's been using the apparatus about a month.
Your prescription, and I want you to do some of those games, okay? And what we can do is I want you to go through a couple of those individual activities, and we can circle back around with you to see how those modifications are going for you, okay?
Okay.
So feel free to hit that back button on the top left side, and that will take the pressure out, okay? And you can go to home, and then you can start your therapy, okay?
Okay.
Very good. So what we're going to do, Bob, is we're going to circle back around to you end of rehab power hour, and we're going to see how those modifications are working, okay?
Sure.
Okay. Did you, actually, I'm going to ask you one more question. How are the games working for you? I see you've been really busy and you've been pretty dedicated with your prescription there. Are there any sort of games that you really like? You want me to modify in any way?
I like them all. My favorite is Plinko.
Yes, I love Plinko. I had the dev team make that because that was one of my old guilty pleasures when I was a kid. So I love Plinko. So very good. And my guilty pleasure, I mean, when I was homesick, I would always watch The Price is Right, and I'd watch Plinko. That was the fun one. So I'm glad someone's enjoying it. So thanks so much, Bob. We'll be back with you in a little while. Okay.
Sure.
Awesome.
Thanks.
Okay. Yes.
Thank you very much.
Yeah, of course. All right. And I'm actually going to ask Parth really quickly in the studio if you have any questions coming through. I think we have a couple potentially.
Hey, Dr. Hassel. Yeah, we actually do have a question.
Okay.
So someone had a question. It was Zach from Tennessee. Zach was wondering, can the hand mentor help you if you don't have much movement in your hand?
Yeah, we've talked about this before, guys, and I think this is it's of course important to bring up time and time again. And so when it comes to the capacity of the hand mentor to work with someone that doesn't have any active movement, it of course can move you, right? It has the ability to assist you with movements and to help you with that initiation process. Now, it's going to be really challenging when we try to think about what type of magnitude of improvement we can expect with that kind of situation. It's going to be really hard for us to sort of make those predictions based on that situation. But it, of course, can allow you to engage in this rehab. And I will say this, if you do find yourself in that category, if you don't have a whole lot of active movement, you can still engage, right? You can still use bilateral control. You can still be volitionally engaged with your brain, really watching that biofeedback. And as the hand mentor helps you move and start that initiation process. Of course, if you have a sensory information that's coming back to your system, it will also help you sort of prime the system, and it's in a very, very simplistic way, of course. So that's another potential benefit. So thanks for that question, Zach. All right, guys, quickly reintroduce everyone here. This is your Rehab Power Hour, and I'm your host, Dr. Nick Housley. We have another spotlight user here. I think Dr. Renee, is that correct?
Yes, my dad is the patient here, Renee and Motus.
Hey, how are you guys doing?
Good, Dad. No. Let's leave the table so they can see. Say hello. How are you doing?
Hey guys, how are you? So if you guys wouldn't mind, just start off by maybe stating your name, tell me where you're calling from, and when you had your neurologic injury.
My name, like you said, is Dr. Renee. This is my dad, Ronnie and Motus. He had his last stroke in August of last year, so mid-August, but he had several strokes last year. So that was like so sad. And we're in Michigan.
Okay, sorry, I couldn't hear that last little bit, guys. There's a little bit of background noise. If you guys wouldn't mind repeating that?
Yeah, I'm Dr. Renee, my dad, Ronnie Motus, and he had several strokes last year, started March 24th. The last one was in August.
Okay, all right. So you guys have the hand mentor?
Yes, it's on his hand now.
Okay, great. Okay. I believe we actually have, let me see, Parth, do we actually have that screen share up and running? Let me just check really quickly, guys. Looks like we might have it up. If you guys wouldn't mind, just give me just a quick second. While we get going, guys, do you have any questions for me?
You know, we have, it's a little quirky. It actually, we start it up and then it'll say, it'll turn the whole console off. So we'll be ready. It says begin therapy. He's hit play. And then all of a sudden it goes off and comes back on. I actually did it tonight with Bianca and she was like, what's going on?
Okay, okay. Well, let's see. Let's see if we can get things figured out. Let's actually go through a couple things first. Have you guys been able to get the hand mentor on?
Yes, yes.
Okay, how was that process for you?
It's not a problem. He's been doing it every day since we got it. So.
Okay, very good.
A month now.
Okay, very good. Let me see if I can get your dashboard pulled up here. Make sure I got this coming up. Okay, guys, if you wouldn't mind, do you have your hand mentor pulled up right now?
Yes.
Excellent. So what do you see on your screen right now?
We're at the home screen.
Beautiful. Okay, if you wouldn't mind, on the left side, on the bottom left side, there's a button called Telehealth. Please press that for me.
Yep.
Okay, and there should be 3 new buttons that pop up there. One of them should say Start Meeting.
Okay, restore session.
Please, yes. Okie dokie, guys. Do you also see on the left-hand side of that screen, it should be something that says toggle to share screen? Do you see that?
Yep.
Awesome. So please press that for me. Okie dokie. And did that work for you guys? Did that change your screen?
No, it hasn't.
That's okay. What I asked, so there's actually 2 parts of your screen right now. There's a little bit of a gray top left part. Press somewhere in that gray screen for me, and then try to press that blue toggle to share screen button again.
There it is.
Beautiful. There we go. All right. So it can be a little bit finicky sometimes, and that's okay. So on the right-hand side, there's also a bit of white screen on the top right-hand side. Go ahead and press over there for me. Okay. Okay. And then you guys can actually go ahead and I guess we'll get that working here in a second. Let me just refresh my side. If you guys wouldn't mind, go ahead and hit the assessment button for me. Okay. And the next question I'm going to ask is, do you guys have the hand mentor on right now?
Yes.
Awesome. I love it. Very good. Okay, guys. So you guys actually saw the last little bit there, so I don't have to walk you through what those numbers mean. And so what we can do now is we can go straight to actually the assessment part. How does that sound?
Sounds great.
Okay, very good. And so this is what I was actually looking at before, guys. If you watch my screen over here, I was actually watching how much we were moving before I did any assessment. This gives me kind of an idea of the baseline. And so this is always good information. I never throw data out of my brain. So it's always good for me to kind of figure out where we are right now. Okay, guys. So let's go ahead. I'm going to clear this to start with, but I'll just note that we're getting around 30 degrees here and we're moving to around 10. Now, this is actually an interesting thing here. I'm going to remind you guys, how do you have the hand mentor donned right now? Do you have it on a table on flat surface?
No, it's sitting on his leg.
Okay. Is it able to go into flexion at all?
Yes.
Okay. That's okay. I was just watching some of the data here, and it actually looked like we were actually kind of at a position where it's kind of indicative of us using it on a flat surface, because all those numbers were kind of elevated, and we're not able to get into flexion a little bit. But It looks like that has been changed since then. So this is good for us. It's just always good to remind ourselves how we should use the hand mentor too. There should be the ability to go down into flexion, okay? Okay, so that's good. You guys can go ahead and position it back to where you were comfortable. And what we can do is go through our 3-step process again, guys. Okay, I'm gonna go ahead and clear this data real quick. And what I'm gonna ask you guys to do is go ahead and go down into flexion as far as you can for me.
Okay, bend your fingers in as much as you can.
Yep, go down into flexion. Bend those fingers down. Very good. Look at that. Very good.
Good job, Dan.
Okay. And then relax for me there. And I'm going to ask you to do the same thing, but I want you to go up as far as you can. Bring those hands all the way up. Very good. I saw a little bit of bump there, a little bump. And extension is always harder. That's pretty typical, but we see some movement there. This is really good. So we can kind of see those 2 data points. One's going down, we're going into flexion. The other one's going up when we go up into extension. This is pretty good. Okay. So we can go to our next step here. I want you guys just to relax as much as you can. And I'm going to move this through a couple of ranges of motion here, okay? I already know that we can go up to 30 degrees of extension. And so we're going to kick up there pretty quickly. So just relax. Let me know when you start to feel some movement, okay?
Okay.
And actually, while I'm doing this, I'm going to ask Dr. Wolf really quickly, this idea I brought up here a second ago about the ability to assess sensory capabilities. This is kind of something that we really haven't ever focused on with respect to the hand mentor in the clinical trials. But what are your thoughts on that? Being able to use this to kind of quantitatively assign some value to sensory detection.
Well, I think value added, especially for position sense at the wrist joint, is that one can, as we were actually doing, I think with the last patient, is beginning to move the hand mentor, the wrist joint, in one direction. And you can determine how far you actually want to move it and ask the patient, maybe even with their eyes closed, when they can sense movement.
Yep.
And in what direction. And the better they can do that with less amount of movement, the more comfortable and confident we are that they have some sense of the positioning, their awareness of positioning of their wrist joint.
Yeah. All right. Yeah. Thanks, Dr. Wolf.
Sure.
How are you guys doing over there? You feel any sort of, is there any sort of resistance to movement? You feel any sort of stretch there? How's that going?
Okay.
I couldn't hear that very well. I'm sorry.
It's okay.
He said
It's okay? Okay, good. Again, I'm watching for those same sort of deviations. I see very nice smooth trajectory up into extension there. It's really nice. Okay. And this is actually where we were at before. We were about at using 60 to 70% of the hand mentor's assistance, and we're getting to like that 30 degrees of movement side. So guys, let me know as soon as you feel any sort of resistance or sort of a strong stretch, okay? And we'll hold there. Okay. And I know while we're doing this, I actually just looking at the time right now, we are actually fast approaching our 9 o'clock hour. So if you guys wouldn't mind hanging out with me a little bit after 9 o'clock, I know Dr. Wolf, if you have to get out of here, that's totally fine. I understand. It's a little bit late on our side over here on Eastern Seaboard. So I do want to invite you to leave if you have to. But I do want to thank you for your time and for being here. And hopefully we will have you back in the next week or so. We can talk about a couple other topics.
Thank you. I'll stick around for a little bit longer.
Sure. Yeah, of course. Okay. How are we doing over there? We're getting pretty far up here. We've got almost up to 50 degrees here, which is pretty good. Still doing okay?
He said he's okay.
Yes.
Okay. All right. We'll go our last little bit here. Again, I'm not seeing any sort of deviations here in those movements. That's that last little bit right there. And as you guys can see, this is very typical, right? When we put more and more assistance in, we actually get less and less movements, kind of some diminishing returns. That's expected, but we still are seeing deviations in the positive direction here. This is really good. So I'll drop it out really quickly here. and we will figure out exactly how much we move to. 55 degrees, 54 degrees, exactly as much as the hand mentor can move. That's full range of motion of the hand mentors. That's really good.
Okay.
Okay. We got some nice, nice drop down. I don't see any sort of real, let's see here, if we have hysteresis here. Okay. I'm gonna put a little bit of help in this, and we'll figure out exactly how much assistance we need to maximize this for you. Okay.
Okay.
Okay, there comes the assistance there. What I'm gonna ask you to do, same thing. I want you to move down into flexion as much as you can for me, okay?
Your fingers go down. Turn the fingers. Don't bother it.
Our video is just being a little bit hung up, but that's okay. We can rely on our data here. We can see that deviate down into flexion a little bit. That's okay, good. And then I'm gonna have you go up into extension. We can see we're really effortful, and that's good. But I want you to, just to remind you, we don't wanna go kind of full body flex on this. We really wanna work on uncoupling our wrist and hand movements from our shoulder movements, okay? Something good to be cognizant of. Okay, we do have that little bit of deviation there, okay? We do see some flexion down. Actually, it looks like there are 2 efforts to go down into flexion. That's really good. And we see some improvement in that extension values. So let's go ahead and go down a little bit. We're actually fairly high in range of motion here. So we'll bring the assistance down a little bit. And go ahead and go, as we go down into flexion, go ahead and go down with the hand mentor for me, okay? Very good. So let's go down again for me, as much as you can. Down into flexion, curl that hand up for me. Good. Very good. And we'll have you go up into extension. This is actually really interesting. It doesn't need a whole lot of assistance, right? We're fairly biased up into the extension values right now. We're hovering in the 30 degrees, but we're only requiring about 50% of the hand mentor's assistance. This tells me that we don't actually have a lot of residual tone in our flexors. So this is actually pretty good. So we can actually rely on maybe a little bit less assistance. Does that make sense, guys? Because you're seeing this on your side as well. So I'm actually gonna like a little bit less assistance for you guys. How does that sound? So it's sort of a very similar situation to Bob here. We have really good total movement capabilities. But we wanna actually go, we wanna provide not too much help, but just enough for you to access it. Okay. All right, I'm gonna go 50% assistance here. We'll make a couple of small changes. And would you guys actually mind playing a couple of those activities?
Okay.
So let me, if you guys wouldn't mind, go ahead and hit the back button for me, and we'll go into a couple of those activities really quickly. So hit the back button and you can hit home. Okay.
Yeah.
And then we can hit begin therapy. Okie dokie, here we go, guys. So this is our thermometer exercise, right? And so this one, we really want to try to increase our extension range of motion. And what happens here is you are the thermometer's temperature. So your movements get mapped straight onto that thermometer, okay? And so whenever the thermometer is going down in temperature, that's good. We want to cool things off. So you can see that's very good. You've already gotten down into 400, in the 400s, very good. You guys still with me?
Yep.
Yes.
Okay. Does this make sense? I think we're pretty good here. So this actually is again proof positive that there's not a whole lot of residual tone there, right? We're actually able to move fairly high up into those degrees of movement and not requiring that much assistance.
Yeah, I see.
Okay. So let's go ahead and actually pause this really quickly, and then we can skip to one of those actual motor control games. So let's go to that one next. Let me know if you guys are able to get over to that one. Okay, very good. Let's go ahead and hit play here.
Okay.
So you are the strongman. So whenever you guys are moving up and down, that is the strongman's movement is your movements. Okay.
Yep. So go down, guys. Bend your fingers down. No, bend your fingers down.
Let's see. It looks like we lost our video there. Apologies, guys. A little bit of lag.
Come on, down, 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 down.
We still have our data coming in. This is really good. Okay. This is good. We're getting pretty far down there. Not all the way down into flexion. There we go. So I'm actually watching this. I'm actually going to move our angles a little bit up to more accommodate where we are. So you guys may see your screen pause, okay? And that's normal. That's just me updating things, okay?
Changing.
So whenever that screen pauses, go ahead and hit play again for me. Okay. How's that working for you? And I know we have gone past our 9 o'clock hour here, guys. So do let me know. Hopefully you guys are okay with me going on a little bit past the hour. So I do thank you for sticking around with me. I know I want to get through all of our spotlight users and make sure we can get them get all that assessment, get all the assessments done. Okay. Very good. I think that I actually liked that a lot better. It wasn't such a struggle to get down there into flexion. We had it a little bit too far down there, not fully appropriate. So I think we're good now. So I brought it up a little bit. I shifted those ranges a little bit. I think now we're able to actually perform the task much better.
Okay.
Okay. So let's go ahead and do this. Let's go ahead and play a couple of these. And I'm going to circle back around with you guys real quick. But do continue this. And I think you have your next game. Let's see. What's the next game here?
It's the other one that's the same kind of, but it's just going up only.
Gotcha. Yeah. So what I want you to do though is once you finish up this, the strongman, go ahead and go over to what's your next favorite one? Do you like slot machine or brick breaker or cosmic tennis? What's your next favorite one?
He probably likes the plinko or the brick breaking thing.
All right. Well, how about this? Go ahead and skip to that one next, and then I'll stop back over with you guys in a little bit, and we'll see how that one goes. Okay?
Okay. Thank you.
Yeah, totally. No worries, guys. All right. Thanks so much for sticking around with me. I know we've gone past here. I think we have. Let's see here.